Great to be back here today amongst all the Moncton protesters, and I want to say to you, Happy New Year! Yay!
Yeah!
It's got to be a great New Year, and I just want to commend all the protest community across New Brunswick and Canada, the world. We're part of a really great movement, and I'm so proud of so many of the people. I read an article by Dr. Malone just this week, and he talked about the standards of ethics that we are compelled to follow. And he says, and I really was proud of him, like really high standards, really great people. I want to thank David LeBlanc here, our cameraman, for filming this. And yay, Dave! Yay, Dave! Dave is faithful. He's here every week, and he posts these speeches and information on his site every week, and so we really appreciate that, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, the tide of war has turned. Welcome to a new year and a new day. 2023 is shaping up to look like a really great year for us. It's not going to be a good year for the establishment or the economy or for the poor people who have been vaccinated, but for us it looks like a great year. 22 ended with the Republicans gaining the House, and that's very important as we go into this year because there's going to be a lot of congressional oversight of what's gone on in the United States, and so that's a bit of the good news. 23 started with a bang with the Twitter dumps and Elon Musk, and the collusion, the criminal collusion between the three-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, etc., DHS, the Democratic Party, different politicians, and these social media platforms. What they've done is criminal. It's against the First Amendment in the United States, and Congress is on them. They're already being subpoenaed, and that has begun just in the beginning of the new year. It's a huge news. This Twitter release also means the truth can now be published on Twitter, and now the pressure is on YouTube, Facebook, and all the rest who are still censoring material. This news is so great. On January the 5th, we're talking 3 days ago, in the Armed Forces Press of the United States, there was an article published which says, and it's kind of hard to see, breaking, the DoD, Department of Defense, controlled COVID vaccines from the start under National Security Program. Lied the entire time. We're never safe and effective. That was in the Armed Forces Press. That is a very substantial article and is very exciting. On January the 6th, yesterday, 2 days ago, Brunson versus Adams came to the Supreme Court. Three brothers, the Brunson brothers from Utah, sued all the congressmen and senators who voted to certify the election in 2020, and he's suing them for breach of their promise, breach of their oath of office, for certifying the election and rejecting the request from 100 congressmen to delay the certification for 10 days in order to investigate credible allegations of election fraud and international interference. It's a reasonable, sensible argument. It's hard to argue with. And they managed to get it to the Supreme Court to be considered. On January the 6th, it was distributed to the Supreme Court justices for conference in which they will consider taking it on as a case. And I'm just on edge waiting to hear the news. No news has come out yet what they're going to do. But if it goes to the next stage, it will become a case at the Supreme Court level. And if it passes, 320 congressmen and senators, including Pence, Harris, and Biden, will lose their positions and never be allowed to run for office again. It's enormous. It is. The Supreme Court is holding the Democratic Party like a marshmallow over a roaring fire. They have them by the short hair, and it's really rather exciting, and I can't wait to find out how this plays out. It's one of those things that you never believe it could happen. It's just too good to be true, but it's happening. What does this mean for you and me? What does this mean for the Canadian protest movement? Is there still a purpose for us? Or should we all just, why are we out here freezing in the cold? Why don't we just go home and say, well, it's over? Well, the war is not over. It has entered a new phase, but it's not over. We are going from defense to offense. We're going from surviving as individuals to seeking accountability. We want to see the criminals exposed, prosecuted, charged, fined, and imprisoned. We are no longer the discredited conspiracy theorists. We are now conspiracy reporters, no longer theorists. This is important, we will increasingly have an audience that is listening. It's time, really now is the time to speak to your children, to your friends, to your family, to your neighbors. They are beginning to listen. The truth is breaking up. It's like winter is over, the ice is starting to break up, the water's starting to flow. It's time to get out there and speak because they're starting to listen. The momentum is on our side. The quibbling by the criminals has already started. The CDC has already published a piece in which they're declaring, oh no, we didn't ban the use of ivermectin. That was just a suggestion. Oh yeah, we know that's a blatant lie. They will be seeking amnesty. They will be seeking to be protected from responsibility. And we must now fight to make sure that doesn't happen. If we want a preferred future, the criminals of this conspiracy at every level, and I repeat that, at every level, from the U.S. President and Trudeau down to the local hospital administrator, must be held fully accountable and pay the price for their egregious crimes. This cabal must be dismantled and their main weapon, which is their money, must be confiscated from them. It must be labeled as the proceeds of a criminal activity. Rules must be put in place which will make this kind of conspiracy impossible in Canada and the U.S. ever again. Lying in the Canadian Parliament or refusing to directly answer a question in Parliament must become a criminal offense punishable by prison terms and fines. Bribery in the Canadian medical system must be criminalized. Doctors must never again be allowed to accept inducements, bribes, from Big Pharma for prescribing drugs. It's legal now. It should never be. The practice of inducing hospitals and administrators and colleges of physicians to endorse certain protocols or forbid certain protocols through blatant bribery must be clearly defined as criminal behavior for all participants. The protest community must become more and more about justice and accountability. The tide of war is turned, but it is not over. To lay down our weapons now is to invite certain disaster. To use the World War II metaphor, now begins the tough slog to Berlin. And in this terrible march, there will be many, many battles just as difficult and perhaps even worse than what we've been through. Perhaps most significantly, we must continue to support our great leaders in this protest movement as they begin what we hope will be the cleanup operation. So here's to 22. Thank God this year is over. Right? What a horrible year. Here's to 23. A year of exposure, vindication, and victory. Here's to the protest movement. Well done. Give yourself some credit. Yay! Yeah. Here's to justice and freedom. We shall not rest until it is secure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.